EC staff petitions President Mahama to remove Jane Mensah and her 2 deputies. They actually say EC hono mono akwabi oye adwuma o yese fe ne Brankson actually petitioner comma President Mahama say only Jane Mensah any deputies CEOs of the Ghana Electoral Commission no only or more than free office. You can say the removal of the Chief Justice was just the beginning of what them call history. It was just the beginning of the journey. Chief Justice there, just for say be pra kwan mu afei na niema kese ba be se ne Mahama se wasa the NDC nia na ye adwuma wo yisi ho NDC for tima kwhye ne putupa say on try na tem kwhye yenyi Jane Mensah di na ye na di we dey Mensah video bi o ha me baba kire me say ECG on EC way say na be betimi ayi na di no eninti ayi Chief Justice adi because Chief Justice Madam Tokono she is ono na ye the real Madam No Nonsense no enye Kennedy Japan Tokono is Madam No Nonsense on found ho no nkwasi nonsense out the nam baby e da no how no de beto so Mahama planned to sack the Chief Justice said the ebeya to me asesa niema bebre a ebeboa ono ne party no ase NDC enti Madam Tokono ye no yakofa NDC judge ana betna ho ene easy way that target so young people ni enti ene ya sheda asuma NDC ni a no ye adwuma wo EC office wo say on petition family say yengi mami wo yedi na President Mahama edi agira so ayinadi asem we eye danya be ko Supreme Court ekotu Supreme Court wa the judge out ho NDC judge Chief Justice no NDC ni it is a Mahama the asem we kwa you must do what your master has asked you to do into bayinadi na me pese yam konko tie video no die ntia papa we ye petition say yenyi Jane Mensah adi ebeya osre be se ebeya osre how dey tie
petitioner nipa or the petitioner comma president say only electoral commission chairperson need 2 deputies now you ura Joseph Blankson Mr. Blankson akwa ba ekosi saying so ni apom te saying
boko
ya danyamia say media report extreme one we staff of the electoral commission me pacho no kre
pa
oh why adwuma we yisi ho ache
since 2012 January
since January 2012
yes
hey as what ache pa in our headquarters one as our region and our district be
no headquarters
hey headquarters wa je wonu ni EC chairperson deputies nyina na wo ho
na wo headquarters
and they tough enti wa na won sasha petition na sia odi akoma president
yana msasa
na unyina so ne say anti wo say omampanyin hwe na onyi chairperson and the deputies here in free ho
when we say petition there the petition the content in there you don't disclose it because
sure.
That's a petition.
Sure, that's true.
According to Article
146.
146. Yes.
Yeah.
Of the 1992 Constitution of the land.
Sure.
Content there means when disclosed.
Yes.
Yes, but according to public statement I'm releasing here, no. Competence ni chronism ni other you all can see.
Incompetence, cronyism, and Sanya man, you win so.
But there's into detail to the president now. There is detail, information inside.
Obehu details in
Obehu details, yes.
Hey, but now that your name is out, do you feel safe?
No, I have even not been to the office for almost 2 years now.
Hey.
Yes, because of our office. And the 2 years, every 2 years in the
Indeed, are you under suspension and answer you were the answer again?
Interdiction.
Oh, an interdiction.
Yes.
For pending further investigations, Anna.
Yes, not pending. Interdiction, no.
Yes.
The means and the national security. I'm almost to make national security for 3 days. Now, and you can put on the 3rd day, no. Mamma or one who say, until the bananka. And the Oko easy was so no. The commissioners name members going to see the commissioners is almost about. And the one of the staff may here, Mamma and lawyers and I say, Monk national security Namobano or and on the 3rd day number, and I did this lawyers in the count, and no union. And not Mammy who I will be there for only God knows. Yes, and after that, you know, I'm going to make a court for 1 year. Now, 1 year court, easy lawyer, easy Mammy Nankata. Nobody from easy, 8 to 90 for 1 year. There's not make a court every month. I'm a court with your lawyers. And me 1 year now, I'm back court. I'm need evidence in the and I get 2 attempts to and I'm also trained at craft for 6 months. I said, I'm that's an agent. I invite me back to the office. None of them 6 months, 1 year. And I'm see you. Me see almost no. Me see almost no. I won't accept a rate, within that month. But after accepting rate, we are supposed to file your defense. When you can say 6 months, you almost file defense.
I would want to believe, say, what chronicles are you winning as part of your grounds, no, right? And I said they are completely different.
Completely different.
But is it also a case of sour grapes? And by sour grapes, I mean, say, on my year, when you said you can, when in you in the Yaoning out the actual petition way. Yeah, I get it. But say, Yaoning Tino, what the BBA would the general structural petition is an American. In this area, still interdiction no and our service still.
Yes.
Now what drew retirement age now we new cry?
Oh, we do cry. A very young man.
Wow. But young father says Sanka uko fie kakra and ebi omo resolve issues no. And yeah kase anko wasen akọ back to adwuma we adwuma. And how the petition we be call?
And come the court. And come the court.
Wow. And see, the other thing would be, say, now your expectation is, say, Omanpenny ever trigger Article 146 process, no, against and clarify. Remember, chairperson and the 2 deputies, and I say 1 deputy.
2 deputies.
2 deputies, Nina.
Yes.
And a chairperson, no.
Aye.
Hey. Those Omanpenny Pamo Mummy and Penina.
That's right.
So what?
For incompetence, any cronyism. Cronyism would mean, say, Omo ye ebusuya semne namfo semon.
Oh, the content in there, I'm talking about my bottle. Content in there, oh, the agency were na Omanpenny and second document now on one answer the full by
And yes, everything you stated in that petition or evidence to back it.
I do.
I was there on the 2 months after, and me, yeah, and Mate. You young swear dancing to be any best about being commobile. Why? Yeah, that's a
I was just what and this is for home. So what? Yasheda, ye be easy, and I assume this is uncle petition. Hey, Crofoway, you kind of 1 you kind of 1 and tea, easy. Nibia at the gem, then the power, and this is why you already see a unity. Some of tea for be 2 team, or chinabi, ye kotoaba, ye can't say, will be ye state capture. What is our state capture? Could say, ye buy ye jet. Ye buy ye, Ghana form ye a Juma wa Juma Hudo be prepim, ya pamo, a soldier form would key positions, ya pamo munina. And he has to send this if when they do one show. It is a case of state capture. No state capture, and say, Sabio Nanado, at the restaurant, Yamanepa, Ana, Neba, Aquabede. Restaurant or airport. Now when you're now here, they are hot on. Sending a state capture. Now there are 2 teams. And Ibrahim Mahama voter lake mining site. And they are Mahama Mia. Hey, brother. It is some more. Tell me, they are no easy. No, need be at the gem. Ye be unity. Say ya toko no ni hono. Assemble because Supreme Court. A Kodruha, Bafu Bonnie, or ye Kennedy, or ye John Mahama na kwada. Mami we be unity. Ye be unity. Ye were you for Papa be a assembly. During the timer, na young can say the extreme right for no or moody bonnet ewo Europe ewo Germany no. Yes, 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 ye kochi your friend is saying, oh, cruise way, you're from Sika-4, the bomb, America, be paying. Oh, you're from saying, oh, what is the name of them? Those who brave one from Italia. Sankrofona, out of Italy, oh, Kumomo, a free, we are so. Yes, I see a quack or chum. Papa Babontin, or Babanton say. Esi ekochi bere fo kukumomo oti hose emfa ye kum ye chi omo wi a ye be passe ekohwe Christopher ye be chi omo ku omo be se emfa ho e ho ada jano e be hin amba abeto enti yi toko no adia ye ka na nipa ni binom dwene se ye partism enim the reason why because since you toko no ni ho no the Supreme Court na ye the higher level I hona sem na yet didn't say then yet the cohort. I will say ye into ye no. At the end this in a cotton now. And also be and this year by betting your commander. And at a cotton now. This year finny a bit din someone, a bit din someone young Quasia Sembia. We are in Sefako Supreme Court who could draw Chief Justice. Or share bottom, ye yepe, and obey Amaye. Abusia Medin, and Mr. Manfuha, a Ras Media GH. Ida munyina se ene mobre do mbesi ha na yankopon epe na omaya hodra ochra me no nyina assign ahia EC staff member EC staff petition President Mahama to remove Mensah and her 2 deputies makra munyina until we meet again abusia adios.
Thank you very much. Lawyer, good evening.
Good evening, Paul.
What's your first reaction on the petition to remove Mensah?
Interesting. Interesting. But there's a view I hold. The view is that all these things that are happening, a strong judiciary would serve as some form of restraint on them. If we have a very strong judiciary, some of these things will not happen. It is sad that we've chosen to gradually destroy our democracy this way. And this is the time where, in my view, we need very strong-willed people who should be able to say that, look, let's hasten slowly. The reason is simple. I don't think that Article 146 was added to the Constitution in a vacuum. It is meant to operate. But we need to ask ourselves, in what circumstance is Article 146 supposed to operate? Is it a case that if they, let's say, an Article 144 appointee, right, a justice of the Supreme Court, a justice of the High Court, the Chief Justice, if for some time, for instance, leaves his office lights on without turning it off, would that serve as a ground for his removal? Would that amount to incompetence?
Oh, but that's petty.
That's petty. You might think it is petty, but if we are not careful, that is where we are going to get to. And that is why I started by saying that we need a very strong judiciary. Paul, let me tell you something.
What is it strong? You mean independent?
Very independent-minded judiciary. Very a partisan, truly a political judiciary. The reason is that you can amend your constitution as many times as possible, but if you don't have a truly independent judiciary, you are in trouble. You see, the National Reconciliation Commission, in their report, stated something. In their summary, in their executive summary, they acknowledged the interference of the executive in the work of the judiciary, and that because of self-preservation, the judiciary has also, accommodated that kind of interference, and that is destroying the judiciary. And so they recommended that we build a strong, independent judiciary if our democracy is to survive. That was part of the recommendations of the National Reconciliation Commission, which was set up by President Kufuor. I think their conclusion and their observation and recommendation was true then, right? And it's still true today. And it's true because of a lot of things that we are seeing. I bet my bottom dollar that if we have a truly independent judiciary, we wouldn't have been bothered about some of these petitions.
What is the role of the judiciary in a petition like this? It's not just the Lord Chief Justice who makes a decision.
That is the judiciary.
Oh, that's what you're referring to as a judiciary.
That is the judiciary. The Lord Chief Justice is the head of the judiciary.
But he's going to make this decision of prima facie in his capacity as Chief Justice, an individual.
He's going to, in his capacity as Chief Justice, he's going to set up a committee.
Yes, he's directed by the Constitution who to put on the committees.
Exactly. And he will set up the committee, so he has a say. He has a say as to who becomes a member of the committee.
Yes, does that matter? Should that matter who becomes a member?
Of course.
Is it not systems that we are running? Is it not constitutional provisions and rules of evidence and straightforward matters that are being discussed at the committee? Why must we have...
If I have a group of people to select from, I determine who I select, right? If I'm very independent-minded and I'm clear in my mind that this, to begin with, shouldn't travel the mile, then of course I can say that there's no prima facie case to begin with.
But why are we setting out from the basis that perhaps the people against whom the petition has come have done no wrong? I'm not setting off from that footing. I'm setting off from the perspective that we need to tread cautiously. This petitioner, there's a background to him. The petitioner is said to have been made to face some disciplinary proceedings,
right? Some complaint has been made against the petitioner to a law enforcement agency. If that is true,
and he's been interdicted,
if that is true, then he is setting off from a bitter.
But he says that his case is not part of the petition. What makes it more complicated?
I agree. His case doesn't have to be part of the petition. But the question is, on what footing is he starting from? Is he being used? Look, we need to tread cautiously. That's all I'm saying. Because if we are not careful, we are weakening institutions of state. And that, for me, is troubling. Because democracy, as we see it, does not operate with the greatest of respect and humility by merely building structures and infrastructure and calling them the offices of certain agencies of state. The persons that hold the office is, they are the persons that make the democracy what it should be. If we continue in this manner, the security of tenure is then removed. That then makes the people, subservient to higher authority, and therefore they are not able to operate with the level or degree of independence required for such office. It is not for nothing that such offices are called independent constitutional bodies. They are supposed to be independent, and that is why I am saying that, look, the gatekeepers, truly the gatekeepers in our democracy is the judiciary.
Somebody will say, Akufo-Addo, you're an MPP member. I like MPP too. Somebody will say that Akufo-Addo did it.
I'll tell you what. If Akufo-Addo did it and it was wrong yesterday, it doesn't make it right today. That is why President Mahama promised us resetting. And so if we are resetting, what kind of resetting are we doing? Are we doing resetting to make it worse or resetting to make it better? I wouldn't want to analyze. This morning I was on a program. I said what I know about the Charlotte Osei removal. You don't have a personal relationship with her.
Okay, I didn't know.
Yes, I have a personal relationship with her. I said what I know. And you see, without going back to what I said, let us as a nation cast our minds to events even in Parliament during the Committee of Whole, where Madam Charlotte Osei and her deputies met Parliament. What happened there?
What happened? Before the removal?
Yes, it was a very...
Before the election?
Yes, it was a very... No, after the election.
After the election, okay. When she came to report back to Parliament.
When she came to report back to Parliament, I wish you could show the footage.
That's 2017.
2017.
What happened?
There was a very frosty, relationship that was displayed.
Among the two, among the EC reps who came to Parliament. I remember that.
If you remember that.
They were very hostile to each other.
Very hostile to each other.
Yes,
Subsequent to that, there was a tape that also came out.
Yes.
About the relationship between the deputies.
It had broken down.
It had broken down beyond reconciliation.
Yes.
So I'm happy this matter, we can refresh our memories.
And they were the petitioners against Charlotte.
They were the petitioners.
The deputies.
We should go, and find out, prior to they sending the petition, what had happened. What attempt had been made to have them removed.
The deputies?
So they were provoked. You see, I'm not here to justify anything, but we need to be a nation, as I said, that should interrogate things. I would always defend independent constitutional bodies. I will always defend arms of government. I saw a bit of the J. Rawlings regime. I've seen what has happened around us as a country. Look at Togo, right? The tamperings of the constitution. Look at what is happening there. It starts gradual. The next moment, boom, there is an explosion. Look at what happened in Ivory Coast, right? Look at the whole of French West Africa.
Yeah.
And so I am very careful when we are tampering with parts of the constitution. I always say that it contains a spirit. If you tamper with it, you tamper with the spirit of the Constitution, and it's just a matter of time. The spirit will depart and it will become a mere document that everyone will trample upon it, which is why I will always defend the judiciary and encourage them to be independent, which is why I will always push for an amendment for greater independence of the judiciary, free from the executive interference and control. And I'll also encourage the judiciary that, look, you are our bedrock. This democracy rests on you. Once you are appointed to the Supreme Court, once you are appointed to the Court of Appeal or the High Court, the Chief Justice, nobody can touch you unless another Article 146 procedure starts. If it starts, people will know that it's because you stood on independent grounds. That is why this is happening to you. But we shouldn't become a tool to be used to destroy our democracy. But when Osajifo Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, the popular refrain is that Osajifo, right, passed the law that made Ghana a one-party state. Is that not the popular refrain?
Yes.
But it was Parliament that passed the law.
Indeed.
And so President Mahama, with the greatest of respect, let's look at the reset you promised. With the greatest of respect to President Mahama, let's look at the reset he promised. Obviously, the reset was on the back of observations that things were not as expected. If things were not as expected, how do we make progress? Look, some people have said that Madam Jane Mensah and her crew, right, are incompetent. Dr. Farijan had been around since 1992, if my memory serves me right. He was part of the interim electoral commission.
Yes, he was.
That was
deputy commissioner at the
deputy commissioner at the time. That was made up of Nana Odronima Pau and Co.
Justice Ofori
Boateng was the chairman.
Yeah.
He had been there. But even that, after his long experience at the electoral commission, what happened in 2012?
Horrendous errors.
So, did we say Dr. Farijan was incompetent because of 2012?
No.
We didn't say that.
But he was about to leave, so he left and he was...
Good. Now, again, when, after 2012, there were reforms that were put in place, i.e. every party should have a copy of what has become known as the pink sheet, right? And the essence of it is for the compilation of your own results, so that if there is an anomaly, right, there can be verification against that of the EC for the anomaly to be established and corrected possibly, right? When the NDC went to the Supreme Court, what became apparent from the cross-examination, from the examination of Mr. Johnson Esiedu Nketia by Justice Apau, who is now retired, what became apparent was that the NDC had not done their own compilation. Subsequently, yes, a tape was leaked where Mr. Johnson Esiedu Nketia was seeking to blame the national chairman at the time, Mr. Ufusu Ampofo. Should we also say that Mr. Esiedu Nketia is incompetent by reason of their default to put together their own pink sheets? Mistakes are human.
Okay.
And so we need to accept that in certain instances, such mistakes may abound. But to the extent that, it should lead to the removal of people from office today, tomorrow somebody may also not like the height of somebody. And merely because that person said something which he thinks that's not aligned to his position, that person too will say, the EC or some other institutional head should be removed. That is why I am urging caution in this whole matter.
Wow, very, very interesting submission. Now, Ibrahim Cooper, who is writing to me, has something quite interesting to add. He says that OB is Oseibosu, but without Amponsa. So it's OB, Amponsa is the comedian. Oh yes, sorry about that. OB is Oseibosu, yes. Okay, but here is Ibrahim Cooper, who says, Ibrahim Cooper says the fact that the petitioner was on radio means that the petition should be dropped. What do you say about that? I'm trying to get his text in detail too. Yes, this is the text now. Ibrahim Cooper says, it says, the decision of the petitioner to speak to Philip Osebos, Esquire, aka Obi, on Asempa on the thematic content of his petition, ipso facto, breached the Article 1468 of the 1992 Constitution and the Frank Ejechum and Bratakwite ruling. Consequently, he says, the petition becomes moot and it must be dismissed. Also, he says the petition, which will be forwarded to the Chief Justice to ascertain whether it established a prima facie case, would be a test case to determine the fidelity and independence of the new Chief Justice, Bafoboni. I will not put in too much pressure on Bafoboni, that if he comes back and says that the prima facie has been found, then we will assume that he is being political. And if he comes and says prima facie has not been found, then we'll assume that he's been independent.
I think the prejudice is derived from commentaries that had preceded the filing of this petition. Commentaries by Mr. Johnson Asiedu Nketia, which is of public notoriety. Commentaries by the Deputy General Secretary of the NDC and some other persons within the NDC. And so those commentaries, have become the inspiration for this prejudice. And so this is where the problem is. And that is why we have to be very careful what we say in the public domain as politicians.